Hey party people, today we're going to talk about questions you didn't even know that you need to ask your wedding planner. I have reasons why you should be listening for a certain answer and a couple things you might not have even considered. So let's jump right in. First off, you want to be sure that you're talking to somebody that you're comfortable with their experience level, since you're going to be working so closely throughout the entire engagement process. If you are engaged for a year or more, that's a really long time to be working very closely with somebody. So you need to make sure that you are talking with somebody that reaches the level of expectation you have for their ability to assess your questions and your needs. The first question is, how many years have you actually been in the business? Now, this question is different from how many years have you owned your own company if you're talking to somebody that has started their own business, or how many years have you actually been in the event or hospitality business in general. There might be people that come from a different aspect of hospitality, like catering or hotels, and you want to find out what their roles were in those different aspects of the same business that we're talking about here. If it's not weddings related, that's okay too. There are corporate events that happen all the time, and lots of people come in from the corporate event business that do really well as wedding planners. So your goal is to find out what aspect of the hospitality industry they might have experience in that led them or brought them to weddings, and how many years that they've been in the business. Ask about the background. I myself am an attorney turned wedding planner, but there's a lot of people with many different disciplines that come into the wedding industry that bring something special to the table. So you want to dig in a little bit and ask more about their background, like how long you've been in the business, or what is it about the business that most excites you, and how long have you been in hospitality as a more general question. That will help inform you as to whether this is a good person for your personality type and what you're looking for out of your event planner. Okay, so number two, this is going to be an interesting one. You want to ask your potential event planner, what is some of the worst things that have ever happened on event day and how did they handle it? I know, you don't want to find out about all the really weird and odd, terrible things that can happen on an event day. And I'm not saying that all of them have to be dreadful and nightmarish. It's really, really nice to think nothing bad is going to happen, or nothing negative or challenging will occur on your event day. But more informative for you to ask your potential wedding planner is, how do you handle it when things hit the fan? But you do want to get to the bottom of how this potential planner is a problem solver. What did they do to overcome some really sticky situations? Now, I can tell you, once I get started talking about war stories from events of my past, it really is hard to stop sharing all the different kinds of things that can and do happen on event day. I know you don't want to think about anything terrible happening on your event, and I really believe that your event is going to be better than anyone else's, and it's going to be truly perfect and the best day of your life. But the reality is that there's something, whether it's big or small, that is very likely to happen that is beyond your control, and you just have to prepare yourself for that. So what you want to know out of your wedding planner is, how do you handle these kinds of situations that are really undesirable? What did you do to overcome them? And then what was the overall result? Because if it ended up okay in the end, or was being resolved professionally and in the best way possible, this is really good information for you to know when and if, hopefully nothing big, but something happens on your event, and you can trust that this person understands how to take care of that. Part and parcel to point number two is, how do you handle stress? One of the things that you need to be aware of with your event planner is that everybody comes from different skill sets and different personality types. One of the things that you need to know, dependent upon your expectations and your desires for your personality type that works best for you out of your potential event planner, is, how does that person deal with stress? Weddings are stressful experiences. They're very emotionally driven for you, for your family members, very high stakes game when it comes to finances, a tremendous financial investment in one single day. So that's a big deal. These are very stressful circumstances to deal with for anybody. You're at the focus of it because it is your special day. Your families, of course, are contributing. They have lots of family dynamics, but also emotions surrounding the whole thing. And it's murky waters to have to navigate. How does your planner generally handle stress? The answer that you want to be listening for is whether this person is proactive proactive or reactive. Dependent upon your personality type and how you want to be supported by your potential event planner, it's essential to know whether you're dealing with somebody that tends to be more proactive when it comes to stress, meaning they are anticipating stress and they have a process in place for how to deal with that in advance, considering all of the possibilities, zooming out from the minutia of the planning process into what is inevitably going to become the big picture scenario here. Can they remove themselves personally from the expression of stress and proactively combat what they anticipate to come down the road by having a process in place to deal with it? Now, that's not to say that they can predict stressful situations with specificity, but that they can anticipate that this is likely to result in some sort of stressful situation. How is it that that person proactively deals with that situation? Now, the other type of personality is one that is reactive. So somebody that has a reactive stress trigger is going to very likely absorb the situation as it comes at them and then respond right away. So with immediate response, without a lot of research and development necessarily happening right in that moment, that might happen after. But if they immediately respond and react and put out a communication right away, proactive is somebody that might more slowly respond in that case to moments of stress, but in actuality what they're doing is information gathering in order to create a response that is thoughtful and well-rounded given the circumstances and all of the consequences and the potential fallout from such a stressful situation. Reactive is going to be somebody that gives a response right away, jumps right into it, and then starts working through all of the pros and cons and then the consequences surrounding that. So then next, you want to find out what is your potential planner's strategy for dealing with multiple complicated family dynamics. Even if you think that your set of family members is very well under control and everyone gets along, it's still interesting to hear the thought process from a potential planner as to how they go about and approach navigating the waters of multiple family dynamics. I say this because I want you to know that weddings bring out the best in people and they bring out the worst in people, and you never know who it's going to affect and when until you are in it. Like the stress that I just got done talking about a second ago, that's what I mean. You can't predict what thing is going to trigger or what other set of circumstances might be at play down the road from now that are really tremendously affecting somebody close to you in your life or even you. How does your potential planner deal with diplomacy? How they approach situations? What is their strategy to be diplomatic in not just dealing with your family dynamic situation, but also with the different egos and vendor teams that you're bringing together with the people that are hired for your event? How does your wedding planner approach these sorts of situations with diplomacy? That's going to give you a lot of information as to how their personality might be a good fit for you or not such a good fit for you, and give you the information you need to make a decision on whether you can work together with this person over the length of time that you're going to be very close in planning over the course of a year or more. This question you might already have on your list of questions that you want to ask your event planner. How many events do you do in a year is something that seems quite obvious to you. I'm more bringing this question up to highlight the answers that you should be looking for to this question, which you might not realize you want to hear. I get asked this question quite a bit from potential clients. How many weddings do you and your company do in a year? And I wonder if what the client is looking for when they ask this question is a really, really high number or a really low number. Do they even know what kind of range they're looking for here to hit as optimal? What you should be looking for your wedding planner to answer this question is that everyone that you are interviewing for the position of your wedding planner, you should be making sure that they are not spreading themselves too thin. And I am here to tell you today that 20 or more events a year is way too much for any event planner or event planning company to be working in a calendar year. Let's look at this. The calendar year has 52 weeks in a year. And so with those 52 weeks, you back out a couple weeks for December holidays, Christmas, Hanukkah, you back out a week for Thanksgiving, and maybe one in the spring for spring break or Easter. That leaves you with 48 weekends out of the year. Half of 48 is going to be 24 events out of the year, 24 weekends. It's working every other weekend for the course of the entire calendar year, minus holiday weekends that are not going to be worked. New Year's Eve, Christmas, Hanukkah, Thanksgiving, Easter, those kinds of holidays are going to be taken out of play here. And then you have somebody that's working every every other weekend. That's a pretty good clip, and that's already 24 weekends out of the year. So if you are looking at an event planner and they say, oh, well, we work 30 weddings a year, we work 60 weddings a year. Oh my gosh, I can't even with that. I know that there are planners that do this and they're very, very proud of how busy they are. But my goodness, I have to tell you, I have been there, done that early on in my business. We worked 47 weddings, and the first full year I was in business, it was madness. That is way too much for any one human being to be working on events like this. These are high stakes events. So you want to be sure that the company that you're talking to, even if they have a team of people, you want to be sure that this team is not going to be spread so thin that they can't give you the time that you deserve to answer your questions, to take meetings and phone calls with you, but also if they have the energy left to give to you, because I'm telling you, these wedding days are long. There are 16+ hour days where we're on our feet constantly, where we don't really eat. We might eat a granola bar or something, or leftovers from cocktail hour. I mean, we don't eat all day, and then the next day the wedding hangover is real, y'all. It's a lot to have to physically recover from. You don't want to be signing up with somebody who is spreading themselves or their team too thin. So anything over 20 events in a calendar year, that's a lot. That's a high volume practice. There's all kinds of red flags with somebody that is running a business like that. This is something that you need to consider, because this is all going to affect your overall quality of client experience, which is super important, and also the ability to have full faith and confidence in your event planner to do the thing that is right by you, and the huge investment that you're making both personally in the event day and emotionally, but also the financial investment you're making in both the event and in the planner that you end up hiring ultimately. These are some things that I want you to consider, questions to ask. If you have other questions that you want to know more about, please leave a comment in the comment section below. If you like what you see, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. Hit that notification bell to be notified when we upload more videos. If there's anything else that you want to know about the wedding planning process in general, or more questions about what we've talked about today, please let me know in the comment section below. I'm out of here, guys. See you later, party people. Until next time.